Listen up, because if you're a Michigan resident getting SNAP benefits, a tiny change in your income that you forget to report could literally result in massive bills, lost benefits, or even fraud charges. Crazy, right? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the exact steps and the absolute non-negotiable rules for reporting income and household changes to Michigan's SNAP program, also known as the Food Assistance Program, or FAP. We're going to give you a clear, totally manageable roadmap to confidently navigate this whole system.
Think about your life right now. Did your income or living situation just change? Maybe you picked up a couple of extra shifts, a friend moved in, or you finally scored that raise at work. While those are awesome life events, in the world of public assistance, they are triggers. If your income just bumped up, you might be at risk of losing your FAP benefits entirely. Or worse, having to pay back thousands of dollars in overpayments right out of your own pocket. And if the state thinks you intentionally hid that money, you could be facing fraud prosecution. The system doesn't wait, and you absolutely cannot afford to wait either.
So you might be wondering, how much time do I actually have? Well, the absolute most crucial thing you need to remember right now is the strict 10-day rule. For the vast majority of reportable changes, Michigan law literally demands that you notify the Department of Health and Human Services within exactly 10 days of the change happening, or within 10 days of getting that first paycheck that shows the change. Missing this tiny 10-day window? Yeah, that's where most people trip up, and it's the absolute fastest way to jeopardize your benefits. Okay, let's take a quick look at today's agenda to demystify all these rules. We'll cover 1. The cost of not reporting. 2. Know your reporting rules. 3. How to report changes. 4. Avoiding common SNAP mistakes. 5. Expert tips and FAQs. And finally, 6. Resources, support, and action.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the cost of not reporting.
Look, the stakes here are incredibly high. Failing to report on time can lead to an immediate reduction or a total suspension of your benefits. But wait, it gets worse. If you kept getting benefits you actually weren't entitled to because your income was too high, you're going to get a demand letter for an overpayment. And yes, you are legally required to pay every single cent of that back. In really severe cases, where the department thinks you intentionally held back information, you can face long-term program disqualification or even straight-up prosecution for fraud. It is simply not worth the risk, guys.
Moving on to Section 2, know your reporting rules.
Now, not everyone has the same rules. Most Michigan households are what the state calls simplified reporters. And honestly, this is great news for most folks. Being a simplified reporter means you have way less reporting to do between your formal review periods. You basically only have to report a few major specific changes to the department, rather than pulling your hair out over every single minor fluctuation in your weekly hours or your bank account. This really highlights the difference perfectly. If you're a simplified reporter, you're only watching for the big triggers. Think things like your total gross income suddenly jumping over the specific limit for your family size, a single lottery or gambling win of $4,500 or more, or if someone in your house who has to work drops below 20 hours a week. That is pretty much it. But if you're classified as a change reporter, the rules are way tighter. You've got to report much smaller shifts, like starting or stopping a job entirely, a change in your hourly pay rate, or even just a $50 shift in unearned income, like child support. By the way, your approval letter from MDHS will tell you exactly which category you fall into.
Okay, Section 3, how to report changes. Let's look at exactly how you get this done. So, how do you actually do this? Michigan gives you 3 actionable ways to report. First up, and honestly the one we highly recommend, is online, right through the MI Bridges portal. It's fast, it's secure, and the best part is it gives you a digital paper trail. Second, you can call it in to the MI Bridges customer service helpline at 888-642-7434. And third, you can do it the old school way, in person or by mail, using the physical change report form, which is officially called DHS 2240. Now, if you do decide to go the paper route, you're going to be using that form DHS 2240. You'll need to fill out your name, your case number, and the exact dates the change happened. Be specific here. Write down clearly what changed, something like start a new job or hourly rate increased to $18. Make sure you sign it, attach any proof you have, like a pay stub, and pro tip, write your case number right on that pay stub, and then submit the whole shebang to your local MDHS county office. And please, always keep a copy for yourself. It is an absolute lifesaver. All right, let's look at Section 4, avoiding common SNAP mistakes.
You know, sometimes you do absolutely everything right and the system still drops the ball. Take a look at this actual hearing docket, case number 26-001855. It shows that even the department makes mistakes. In this specific case, a dad reported that his daughter's income went down and he provided all the pay stubs right on time, but the department just completely failed to update the budget correctly, which shortchanged the family on their FAT benefits for 3 whole months. Thankfully, the judge ruled in the family's favor and ordered retroactive benefits. But this just proves exactly why it is absolutely vital to keep your own personal records of what you submitted and exactly when you submitted it.
It's honestly kind of fascinating to see exactly how the information you report translates into actual dollars and cents. Looking at this data from docket 25-402929, when you report unearned income, like SSI, the department uses a really strict mathematical formula. They take your gross income, subtract a standard deduction, which for a single person here was $209, and then they calculate an excess shelter deduction based on your rent and utilities. After all that math was done, in this case, the petitioner was only eligible for $60 a month. But by understanding how deductions like shelter and utilities actually lower your countable income, you can clearly see why reporting every single eligible expense you have is just as important as reporting your income.
Next up, Section 5, Expert Tips and FAQs.
Let's hit some rapid-fire tips to make sure you're getting exactly what you're eligible for. Did you know that adult children over 22 who live with you but prepare their food completely separately can actually form their own FAP group? Seriously, that one simple change could alter your benefit calculations entirely. Also, remember what we talked about earlier? If MDHS makes an error that wrongfully drops your benefits, you can fight it and potentially get retroactive benefits. Here's another awesome tip. If your earned income fluctuates by $125 or less, Michigan currently lets you use self-attestation on your renewal forms, which basically means you don't have to scramble for 30 days of pay stubs. And finally, be super careful here. Medicaid has completely different reporting rules than SNAP. For Medicaid, an unearned income change of just $25 has to be reported. Do not mix those two programs up.
And finally, Section 6, Resources, Support, and Action. Before we wrap up, I just want to give a quick reality check. Please remember, the information in this explainer is strictly informative to help you wrap your head around how the system works. It is definitely not a substitute for professional legal or financial advice. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is always the ultimate authority on your specific case. So please always consult directly with your MDHHS specialist, give the MI Bridges hotline a call, or just visit your local office to get guidance that is tailored specifically to your family's unique situation.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Have you checked your MI Bridges account lately? Just logging in today, taking maybe 5 minutes to verify your info, and making sure your gross income and expenses are fully up to date, that could literally be the difference between keeping your grocery budget totally secure and waking up to a really painful overpayment demand. Don't sit around waiting for that 10-day clock to run out. Take action today, stay organized, and keep your benefits safe. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.